to get on the road again, telling stories to our family and our friends. We can't wait to get on the road again. On the road again. We can't wait to get on the road again, telling stories to our friends. We can't wait to get on the road again.
Okay. Welcome to our monthly AAA podcast, Affinity, Allie, and Annette on the road to good storytelling with your hosts, Allie Spooner and Annette Maury. This month, I'm super excited. We're talking about books with a touch of mystical flair, which is kind of fun. We're very, very honored to have Caren Werlinger join us to discuss her wonderful books. I think she's going to talk about the books in the Little Island series, which I just read, which were absolutely fabulous. I am eagerly awaiting book number 4. And those 3 books are When the Stars Sang, Face the Wind, and The New Shore. We also know that Allie Spooner writes in many different subgenres, and her Cast Iron series has a special kind of mystical flair to it as well. In fact, when I was reading Caren's series, and also I've read obviously all of Allie's books, I love her stuff, I was taken by the similarities between the 2 series, because there's this whole sort of family focus, which was really kind of cool to read about. Anyways, her Cast Iron series has that mystical flair, and she's going to read from that. And I'm very excited because she's going to read from her new book, The Sky People. And we're very blessed to have both of them do a reading for us. So let me introduce Caren. She is a best-selling author who published her first award-winning novel, Looking Through Windows, in 2008. Since then, she's published 16 more novels, winning several more awards, influenced by a diverse array of authors, including Rummer Godden. Is that how you pronounce it?
Rumor.
Godden. J.R. Tolkien, Ursula Le Guin, Marion Zimmer Bradley, Willa Cather, and the Bronte sisters. Of course, I know them. Caren writes literary fiction that features the struggles and joys of characters readers can identify with. Her stories cover a wide range of genres: historical fiction, contemporary drama, and fantasy, including the award-winning The Dragon Mage Saga, a fantasy trilogy set in ancient Ireland. She's lived in Virginia for 30 years, where she practices physical therapy, teaches anatomy, and lives with her wife and their canine fur children.
Thank you, Annette and Allie. It's an honor to be here with you today. I am really thrilled to be guesting here on your podcast and to be sharing a little bit more about my books with your listeners. I will be doing a short reading from the 3rd and the latest book in the Little Island series called The New Shore. In this book, Kathleen Halloran, one of the main characters who has carried through from book to book to book, she has had to help take care of her mother, who is terminally ill, and that's in the blurb. I'm not giving away. There are no spoilers here. But her mother has recently passed away at this point in the book, but there's still a pall hanging over the house. There's just this darkness that has kind of settled over Kathleen and her mate, Molly. And in this scene, Siobhan, the island witch, is there to help them deal with this. So that's the scene, okay? I don't understand why we have to do this, Kathleen said irritably. The room is empty. We got rid of all the beds and furniture. It's been painted. It's just sitting empty. But Siobhan walked slowly around the bedroom, her hands up as if feeling for something. That's a good start, but not enough. She went to a large tote bag she'd brought with her and handed Molly 4 white pillar candles. Set these at the compass points, will you? Oh, and open the window all the way. Molly stood for a moment, orienting herself before placing the candles on the floor and then shoving the sash as high as it would go. To Kathleen, Siobhan handed several pieces of wood. Some were twisted and gnarled, others looked like ordinary branches. What are these for? Kathleen asked. Tree magic, Siobhan held up one of the branches. This is hawthorn, and these, she picked up 2 others, are alder and blackthorn. They help in cleansing and protection. What about this one? Kathleen turned over another gnarled piece of wood in her hand. It looks like driftwood. It is. Siobhan met her eyes. Driftwood is a merging of earth and water, important for this particular cleansing, I think. Kathleen blinked and lowered her eyes. Where do you want these? Place them between the candles in a large circle. I'll lay out the hemlock and yew. Molly straightened. Aren't those poisonous? They are, but they've powerful magic as well. Siobhan went to the door where Blossom lay in the hall watching everything. I need to close the door. Do you want to be in or out? He scrambled into the room, crouching in the corner. Siobhan closed the door, and when everything was laid out, they stepped into the circle. She spread her arms, spinning slowly in place, and the candles ignited. Close your eyes, Siobhan commanded. She murmured words that Kathleen couldn't make out, but they didn't sound like English. A whisper of air moved through the room, swirling around them. Siobhan stepped away, and Kathleen opened her eyes to see her holding a small bundle of bound herbs. She held it to one of the candles until it began to smoke, and then she walked around the interior of their circle, waving the thing to spread the smoke. When she completed her circle, she placed it in a small pewter bowl she'd set in the center. Smoke continued to billow into the room until a haze hung over everything. A peaceful death is beautiful, quiet, a last breath that bridges the journey a soul makes from one plane to a first breath in another, like stepping through a door. Siobhan's voice was soothing, hypnotic. But this room, this house, has been tied to a death that was not peaceful. That kind of death leaves an imprint in this realm, like a shadow of something cold and heavy. That ore had to have been imbued with everything Brian was feeling and thinking as his life ended. His terror, his regret, and by Christine clinging to it, she clung also to all of those negative emotions. Siobhan raised her face skyward. They fill this room. They must be forced to move on, or the negative energy they are intertwined with will continue to feed on those it comes in contact with. As if someone had opened the door, the smoke began to swirl and writhe about, a living thing, angry and agitated. We free you, Brian, and you, Christine, of any last anchors that tie you to this realm. Go, be finally at peace. Obeying her command, the undulating smoke began to swirl faster. Kathleen felt a brush of air against her cheek, and strands of Molly's hair blew across her forehead. Siobhan swept her arms toward the open window. With an audible sigh, the smoke drifted through and out. Siobhan closed the window and turned to them. Molly, her voice trembling, asked, "What in the world was that?" That, said Siobhan, was the last of the negative energy left behind. It tends to linger, looking for something to latch onto, to feed on. She took Kathleen's hand between hers. Now your house is your own.
All right.
Awesome. That was so great. You know, many years ago, I had a good friend of mine who worked, she was actually the administrative secretary, but she was such a character. She would have these interesting shaped glasses that she would wear, hearts and diamonds and all kinds of interesting things. And she was just an interesting person. And she was, I can't remember what tribe, part of First Nations, but she was a high up magical and I'm not really sure what the title was, but anyways, so she came and we bought all these crystals and she came and blessed our house, and did the smudge stick and all the whole, it was this whole ritual. It was really absolutely fascinating. But she was just this cool person. So I am actually familiar with getting rid of bad energy and blessing houses and all of that. That really rung true from my experience. I don't know, Allie, have you ever had anybody bless your house or smudge your house or do any of those kind of things? Have you?
We've had it saged a few times, yeah.
Oh, good. And Caren, have you had a personal experience with that? Somebody coming to?
I have not, no, and I completely did that based just on research and imagination. So
Oh,
to
okay.
experience it sometime.
Yeah, you should. You should. It was a fascinating ritual that she did. It was interesting to watch. Anyway, so
Yeah.
Allie, are you ready for your little snippet for us?
I am actually. I'm reading from the book that's released today. It's the fourth book in the cast iron series called The Sky People. Eli and Whit are the two main characters, and Whit has finally met her father. She never knew the existence of her father until recently, and he has basically dropped a bombshell on them. After their marriage and after the honeymoon, Whit and Eli decided that they were going to have a baby together. So they painstakingly went through profiles and picked out the same individual. And Whit's father has informed her that the individual that is going to be their donor is also a star child, and that they would have twins, which was a shock to everybody. So these are two snippets from a couple of the chapters in the book that covers a little bit more of the uniqueness of the babies.
Allie, before you start the reading, I know what a star child is, but I'm not sure if the rest of the readers might not know.
Well, First Nations have a variety of uses for the word or the term star child. It can be something that the sky people or individuals that the Native Americans thought came from the sky, whether they were gods, whether they were spirits, whether, you know, aliens, whatever. In this book, I use sky people as something a little bit different. Come to find out, they're not from a different planet. They're from a different time period or dimension in today's Earth. So that's where her father comes into the picture, and the term sky people or sky child are derived from. Wit, being half human and half sky child, or half sky people, is considered a sky child. And the two babies will also be considered sky children. Does that explain it? Okay. All right, here we go. Eli caressed Wit's baby bump with her fingertips. That tickles. What tickles? She asked Wit. What do you mean? Wit looked confused. Did you just not say that tickles? Eli looked at Wit. No, it wasn't me, Wit replied. Eli's eyes grew wide as her hand caressed Wit's stomach. She heard giggling in her head. What tickles? You running your fingers across us, a tiny voice answered. What the heck? Eli looked up at Wit, shocked. Eli laid her head on Wit's stomach. Zach and Mackenzie, is that you? Yes, duh, a voice answered, but we prefer Zach and Mac. Are you hearing this? Eli asked Wit. Wit nodded her head. Zach and Mac it is, then. Thanks, Mommy, a tiny female voice answered. You're welcome, Mac. How long have you two been listening to us? Eli asked. Since yesterday, duh, Zach answered. When we heard our names being called, it woke us. Eli shook her head to clear the cobwebs from her brain. Seriously? Yes, Zach repeated. Eli lowered her head and kissed Wit's stomach. Good morning, my babies. Good morning, Da, Zach answered. Why Da? Wit asked. Does it offend you? Mac answered. No, not at all, Eli said. She smiled at Wit in disbelief. We have a mommy who carries us and a Da to protect us. Would you rather we call you anything else? Absolutely not. Da is perfect, Eli told them. Da, will you feed Mommy then? We're hungry, Zach said. What are we eating today? Eli asked. I think she calls it French toast, Mac replied. I'm on my way to the kitchen, Eli said, climbing from the bed. I'll get breakfast started, Mommy. I've got to empty my bladder from where these two have been using it for a punching bag, and I'll be right down, Wit answered. Sorry, Mommy. It's starting to get a little cramped in here, Zach answered. If you keep growing, you won't fit much longer, Wit said as she waddled toward the bathroom. You will be meeting us soon, Mac replied. We are ready to see you, Da, and our cousin Mitch. He is already crazy about you, and you haven't been born yet, Wit answered. We can feel the love you share, Mac said. He would be jealous if he knew we could talk to you, Wit said. He is so excited to have cousins. We could talk to him through you, Zach said. I don't think we're ready for that just yet. Mitch and Mark know much about my background, but don't know you're a second generation for star children. I think it's best to keep that secret for now. Yes, Mommy, Zach answered. We'll sleep now so you can enjoy your meal. Wit slipped on her robe and joined Eli in the kitchen. Eli turned to her with a massive smile on her face. Can you believe what just happened? No, but I think it's pretty awesome. The twins are napping while we eat, she told Eli. I'm glad you can hear them. I thought I was losing my mind for a minute. I know your father said this would possibly happen, but wow, just wow. I have a feeling their awakening will trigger a visit from him soon. I'm sure he has much to say to them. I wouldn't be surprised either. Eli plated 2 slices of French toast and handed them to Wit. Apple juice? Please, Wit answered. Are you not eating with me? I'm too excited to eat. I have some coffee, though. Do you have a busy day planned? I do now. I will buckle down and finish sanding the wood for the cribs. I have a feeling the twins will arrive ahead of schedule. Mark and I can assemble them this weekend, and I can stand them next week. I guess I need to order the mattresses and a mat pad for the changing table, Wit said. Can you think of anything else we haven't planned for? I don't know if we will need them, but what about rocking chairs in case they get colic? I don't think they will, but rocking chairs will be nice to have in the living room. I don't think they will fit anywhere else. What about the landing at the top of the stairs? It's big enough and will be a quiet area, Eli suggested. 2 weeks later, Eli and Wit were relaxed on the couch, preparing to go upstairs for the evening. Wit felt a twinge of muscles in her lower belly. Da, Mommy, it's time, Zach said. What? Eli said, jumping off the couch. It's time, Zach repeated. There is time to drive slow, he reminded Eli. We will arrive in the morning. Okay, you relax here while I pull the truck up to the steps, Eli said. Eli? Yes. Wit reached for her and pulled her in for a kiss. Relax. We've got this. Eli took a deep breath. Yes, we do. Will you call Mitch and tell them we're headed to the hospital? I'm on it, Wit said, and picked up her phone. Hello, Mitch answered with a groggy voice. Are you already in bed? Wit teased. Wait, what? Is everything okay? He immediately sprang to life. I wanted to let you and your dad know we are heading to the hospital. I will probably be in labor most of the night, so there's no rush to sit and wait. Will you feed the animals in the morning and come then? Yes, no problem. I'll call Dad. Is Eli okay to drive? I can drive you. Eli will be fine, Mitch, but thanks for offering. I'll see you in the morning. Love you. I love you too. Mitch hung up and called his dad. They're going to the hospital. Wit said to feed up and come in the morning. She sounded pretty calm for someone about to give birth, Mitch said. How was Eli? Wit says she's good and can drive them safely. The hell with waiting until the morning. Shower and get dressed. I'll call Carol and Julia and ask them to feed the animals in the morning. We can drop Cruz at their house when we leave. Sounds good. Oh, and son, dress comfortably. It could be a long night. On it, Dad, Mitch said. I'll see you soon. Eli's hands trembled as she placed the key in the ignition. Get a grip, she growled at herself and let out a slow, deep breath. She pulled the truck up near the steps and jogged inside for Wit. Cruz was lying on the couch beside her with her head in Wit's lap. When you see us next, the babies will be with us, Wit said, stroking her head. Mitch will come in the morning to feed you. Cruz climbed down from the couch when Wit stood, and Eli escorted her from the house. We'll be back soon, she promised Cruz, and closed the door. After buckling Wit in her seat, she asked, Is there anything else you need? Wit nodded with a smile. A kiss. Eli leaned in and kissed her sweetly. Let's roll. Breathe, Da. Mommy's the one having babies, Zach teased to lighten the mood in the truck. Eli reached over and covered Wit's hand on her stomach. I am breathing, she chuckled. Have you given thought to who arrives first? Whoever it is will be the firstborn and will always be the older sibling. Zach will be the first and will always be my protector, Mac replied. I like that answer, Eli said. I'm so excited to finally get to see you. As we are, Zach replied. We can't wait to be in your arms. Hey, what am I, chopped liver? I've carried you all these months, Wit teased. Yours will be the first face we see, Mommy, Zach answered. Eli returned her hand to the steering wheel and carefully drove to the hospital. When the nurse wheeled Whit into the birthing room, Eli turned to Whit. I'll be right back once I park the truck. Don't worry. We'll get Whit set up in a comfortable room. Your doctor's been notified and he's on his way in, the nurse told him. So that's introducing Mac and Zach.
I loved them. I loved the fact that they could talk while still in the womb. That was such a cool concept. I would imagine that parents all around the world would wish that their children could talk before they actually can talk. Sometimes when they cry and they don't know what they're crying about.
Right.
So don't forget to check out our YouTube channel and subscribe. And then next month, we think we will be discussing heart-wrenching sapphic drama, but we haven't quite set that up yet. Any last comments, Allie or Caren?
Caren, I appreciate you joining us, and keep writing the series. I really, really enjoyed it. I look forward to it.
Agreed. Love your work. Thank you so much for joining us, Caren.